So hello everyone. Hello sir. I am Wea Macy Cañete, the first reporter of Group 4. So in these lessons, I'll be discussing the 3.2 cognitive perspective. But before we proceed to our discussions in this module, challenge yourself to describe the different Gestalt principles, list ways of applying Gestalt psychology in the teaching, learning process demonstrate appreciations of the usefulness of Gestalt principles in the teaching. So, introductions Gestalt psychology is at the forefront of the cognitive psychology. It serves as the foundations of the cognitive perspective to learning. It opposed the external and mechanistic focus of behaviorism. It considered the mental processes and the products of perception. Okay, so Gestalt psychology or physical biology are or symbolic configurations or elements of pattern. So talk about Gestalt, guys. Word Gestalt. It is a German word that is a form or configuration. So talk about form, like for example, okay class, form your group, form yourselves into or group yourself into six. So mo na siya ang sa forms. Then kung sa configuration naman is talk about the arrangement or the combinations. So the idea of Gestalt is it is the idea of grouping. I have here some pictures and you have to examine of what is it all about. So first, so what do you think about this word? Do you think it is in good or evil? So what about these second pictures? Is it about the word you or me? Just examine it. So the last one, so it is the word illusion or um, optical. Okay, so but before we proceed on that, skip that first. So later on, we will know what is the meaning of it. We have here the advanced organizers of Gestalt psychology. So in Gestalt psychology, there are three components, which is the Gestalt principles that have the six concepts, then the insight learning, then the last one is the lifespans have three concepts. Gestalt theory have three proponents or three developer persons. So first, Wolfgang Kohler. Wolfgang Kohler siya ay isang German psychologist. So the next one we have here Max Wertheimer. So Max Wertheimer is siyang Austro-Hungarian psychology. So the last one si Kurt Kopfer, which is the German psychologist. It said it here no that Gestalt psychology, it was the initials of cognitive responses to behaviorism. So it talks and contradict the some of the concept of behaviorism. So makita na to diri ang development of different theories in pursuits of understandings about how learning happens, like how it helps us learner and how it learned as best maong natay Gestalt psychology, which is it called cognitive theories. So let us now go back first to the pictures for what I've shown to you first. So di ba gipa-examine ta mo. So did you see one word and two words? So you will be able to recognize it. So by that it creates you more idea and give you contradictions about the word that you've shown. So we first see the you and me, and um, so we also see the illusion and the optical, then the word good and the evil. So by that again, you are be able to aware and analyze those pictures. Let's now talk about the Gestalt principles. So, Gestalt principles elements that are closer together will be perceived as a coherent objects. On the left, there appears to be the three columns, while on the right, appears to be three horizontal rows. When objectives we are perceiving are near each other, we perceive them as belongings together. So lesson everyone know, the Gestalt principles are psychological theories that describe how humans perceive visual elements as organized wholes rather than individual parts. first principle is the law of proximity. Elements that are closer together will be perceiving as coherent objects. When objects we're perceiving are near each other, we perceive them as belonging together. Take a look to the dots. Principle of proximity would suggest that objects that are close to each other are perceived as a group. For instance, a series of dots placed together are perceived as a single line rather than individual dots. So, examples of law of proximity. So, we have here the examples. So, I myself know that it is 15 dots. Why? Because I counted it. So, sa inyo ha, di na lang mga, we have here the pictures. So, sa inyo na nakita, dayon is, you focus lang sa image, right? Wala lang niyo siya na i-have ng 15 dots din na siya. So, we see rather coherent objects nga makita nato nga form sila or group, dili kay ihapon nato sila individual, because nakita lang nato sila nga kani nga image is form na siya nga group, then the next image is form lang gyapon siya nga group, so dili nato, wala nato siya na count, because also we just focus sa ilahang formations like 1, 2, and 3 forms, right? We perceive them as a belongings together. So, wala nato sila gitanaw individual, no? So, we see them as a group. So, unsay connect nila sa teaching learning process as a learners or to the learners. So, like for example, mathematics. So, magtudlo kag additions, subtractions, multiplications, divisions. Diba, dili ta mauna sa multiplications, subtractions, divisions. Why that? Because students will understand will in a form simple to complex. But like for examples and prerequisite, dili siya pwede maambak sa laing subject kung wala pa na mas na-learn ang bata diri ang law of proximity, no? So it is applied and organized the content sa imong gitlo sa imong learners or students. So next we have here the law of similarities. It is the elements that look similar will be perceived as part of the same group form. There seems to be a triangle and a square. We link similar elements together. For example, also these pictures. Obviously, wala nato sila nakita na triangle, tanan, triangle, tanan, circle, tanan, mixed gid siya. So the way nato sila na notice no or nakita is different yun. So, kani sila na organize in a form of shapes. It is in relations and teaching learning process. The next one is the law of closure. We tend to fill the gaps or close the figures we perceive. We enclose a space by completing a contour and ignoring gaps in the figure. So imagine you see a drawing of square with one of its corners missing. Despite the missing corner, your brain will likely perceive the figure as complete square, right? This is because the law of the closure suggests that our minds and to fill in the missing parts of incomplete shapes to perceive them as a whole and recognizable as objects. Next is the law of good continuations. Individuals have the tendency to continue contours whenever the elements of the pattern establish and imply directions. People tend to draw a good continuous line. So the law of continuations. So the continuations of the lessons. So we will connect it to our previous lessons. So nga na i-connect natin siya sa previous lessons, that is because as a students or as a learners, we can understand it well or better to the materials if it is connected to our prior knowledge, right? Diba dira is kanang makita gyud nimo nga ang students is naslay understandings in previous lessons. So I guess that is all my discussions of Module 9 3.2 Cognitive Perspective, because Ate Nova Magno will continue our discussions.